Begin tonight with the spread of the coronavirus, with more cases confirmed across Australia. Here's the latest on the situation. Health authorities in Queensland have confirmed that state's first case. The 44-year-old Chinese national is being kept in isolation in Gold Coast University Hospital. A second case of coronavirus has also been confirmed in Victoria. That brings the national total to 7, the other 4 cases being from New South Wales. Chinese authorities now say the virus has infected nearly 6,000 people there, the death toll rising to 132. Meanwhile, unprecedented plans are being put in motion to evacuate Australians stranded in the epicentre of the outbreak. As many as 600 citizens are registered as being trapped in Wuhan. They'll be sent to a new quarantine centre on Christmas Island.
The National Security Committee of Cabinet has hatched a plan to rescue hundreds of Australians stranded in Hubei province. They'll be loaded onto a Qantas jet in Wuhan and flown to Christmas Island if all goes to plan.
We cannot give a guarantee that this operation is able to succeed.
The nation's most vulnerable will be given priority.
This will be done on a last-in, first-out basis. What that means is we're working with the community that has been identified there. For those who have been there who do not have an established support infrastructure in where they're living, we're particularly focused on the more vulnerable components of that population. That's young people, particularly infants, and those who are elderly.
Evacuees will be quarantined at Christmas Island for up to 14 days, but it could be longer depending on advice from medical authorities. The operation will be a joint mission with New Zealand. Prime Minister Ardern saying, "We have confirmed that we will work together on a joint ANZAC-assisted departure of Australians and New Zealanders from Wuhan." Specific details of the evacuation plan, including the medical protocols that will be applied to returning New Zealanders and access arrangements on the ground in China, are being worked through by officials. The Department of Foreign Affairs has upgraded its advice for China to reconsider all travel. Residents are advised to avoid Hubei province altogether. This, as the first case of human-to-human transmission is recorded in Europe.
We are convening an urgent meeting of all of our expert groups this afternoon to reconsider whether our medical advice should be changed.
In a major breakthrough, scientists in Melbourne have created a lab-grown version of the virus, a major step forward for researchers developing a new vaccine.
And that's important both in the clinical management of patients who may be late in the illness and past the point where they're shedding the virus that we detect with molecular techniques. And it's also really important for us to look at things like asymptomatic infection with the virus, that possibility, or mild infection that hasn't come to the attention of health authorities.
It's an incredibly exciting development to have grown the virus so quickly.
The Morrison government is also releasing up to 1 million face masks to the general public. A supply of 21.5 million will be made available if required. Charlotte Mortlock, Sky News Sydney.
Australian tourism is expected to take a dive due to China's ban on group tours as the country scrambles to cap the coronavirus outbreak. Queensland is expected to lose millions of dollars from a drop in Chinese visitors during what should be a bustling Chinese New Year period.
Streets falling quiet as cancellations climb. The Sunshine State struggling in the face of a virus with pandemic potential.
Vendors who are most impacted by this kind of phenomenon are smaller vendors, and obviously the mums and dads outfits cannot afford to go without income over a long period of time.
In the year to September, close to 500,000 Chinese tourists jetted to Queensland, pumping nearly $1.5 billion into the state's economy. But China's ban on group tours is threatening to draw millions of dollars from the local tourism industry.
You know, I checked it out yesterday just to see how significant tourism is for our export sector. Now, number 5, if you look at the top 10, number 5 is travel education. So all the students who come in have been linked into a group called travel education. That's number 5. And number 3 is personal travel. So putting them together, they're close to being one of our most significant exports. Now, of course, China's not going to travel, and China is our most important tourism customer nowadays.
The impact of SARS was really only able to be quantified years after the event. On the Gold Coast, I think that the double whammy, if you like, of bushfires and coronavirus means that we are in uncharted territory.
A Chinese guest staying at a luxury Broadbeach hotel was rushed to hospital on Tuesday afternoon after presenting symptoms consistent with coronavirus. Tourism Australia is acting to arrest the visitor decline, launching a new Holiday Here campaign. Julia Bradley, Sky News, Gold Coast.